All right, everybody, welcome to our first session of Dragon Age. Oh wow, we're actually playing a game, guys. This is I'd say this is probably the first game in a year that I've actually ran online. And this is the first game that I've ran since July of last year, so holy cow. It's awesome to be back running a game, guys. And I totally appreciate your patience and all that stuff with getting back going and stuff. And I miss watching Worm Food eating bananas on cam and stuff. It's yeah.
But Dave, we have that deal where you call me at night and
Oh,
watch me eat bananas on
here
camera.
we go. Yeah, we have a deal. All right.
I may talk about Patreon.
Oh God. Holy cow, Worm. That is like so creepy. I mean, I like it, but it's creepy. So how's everybody doing? You guys excited and ready to start playing every week? Like I said, we'll probably play 3-4 weeks in a row, and then we'll take a week off, and then we'll come back. And the great thing about this 2 hour schedule is it's early enough in the day to where we're not locked down all night until like midnight anymore playing. And then you got, like in Dyron's case, he'd have to get like an hour or 2 hours of sleep before, having to go and work at dark 30. So yeah, I think
Well, thank you for that. Thank you.
that's
Well,
no
it's
problem.
hard being a stripper, Dave, but he says he makes a lot of money.
So good to have you back, Worms. So good to have you back. Golly. So we're gonna get going. So we made characters last week, and we have an array of 5 characters. And when I told you guys where we were gonna start, we are starting. Basically, you guys have been escorting Duncan. And Duncan is the leader of the Grey Wardens in Ferelden. And, the world of Dragon Age is really huge. But, yeah, you guys have been on the road for several weeks now with Duncan. And you guys have been traveling every night. I mean, you've been traveling. You guys are basically Grey Warden recruits, and you have not gone through the joining yet. And the joining is how you're actually inducted into the Grey Wardens. And the Grey Wardens are important for the world of Dragon Age because they're the ones that, have fought off all of the creatures throughout the 4 blights that have happened previously. And, you guys are taught on a nightly basis from Duncan himself that he thinks that there's going to be another blight in the future. And he's very adamant about that, and that's why he's trying to bolster the ranks of, with more recruits. So you guys are basically sitting
So
around a campfire.
refresh my memory.
Mhm.
What was one of the other 4 blights?
It's just where the creatures from the blight come out. The orcs and the other creatures where they try to destroy the entire world. They're not really called orcs. They're called Glenlocks and Hurlocks and stuff like that. So that's my D&D, kicking in there, what the creatures are called. So yeah, it's where all the big brood mothers and the hives and stuff, they just create all of these creatures and just throw them into the world, and a blight
I heard the
happens.
blight of the hives was fixed by a little bit of salve. By the way.
Was it?
Yeah, you just had to rub it in.
Was Duncan the one that took his hand and put it into the big honey jar and then slathered it all over the wound?
He did, and then no more hives. It worked out.
I wonder how long of a healing process that took. I mean, and how nasty was the wound at first? I mean, that's those are things you gotta ask, Worm. So So you guys have been on the road with Duncan for a couple of weeks. You guys are camping currently, and I have a nice little image for you guys. And that's basically the scene of what's going on, even though those aren't the art for your characters.
Are we cooking that lady? Because that looks delicious.
Yeah. So what are you guys eating for dinner? I mean, you guys have
apparently her arms. She doesn't look like she has any forearms.
Yeah, she was disarmed before we brought her in, just to be safe.
She's reaching into the pot. You can see that, can't you?
Bunch of art critics over here, huh?
I know. She's reaching into the cauldron. But no, that's we'll say that's all wiener noggin right there. The female, that's wiener noggin. So you guys are having dinner. Whatever, you guys go out and track down, set up some traps, and have some rabbit. Maybe you get a deer. Some, forage for some vegetables and stuff. So you're having a nice dinner. And every night Duncan gives you basically just a general lesson on the Grey Wardens and about the blights and all that other stuff. So tonight the topic, and this is actually Duncan, the Grey Warden. I'm going to give you guys another image of what Duncan looks like. Strapping young fellow there, actually middle-aged, but he's giving you the topic of your lesson tonight is the Grey Wardens and the Blight, and basically it's important. It's important in the history of this new Dragon Age. So basically, he tells you that ages ago, the Maker imprisoned the 7 old gods of the Tevinter Imperium deep beneath the earth, and the Tevinter Imperium is where all of the mages go to. It's like the only legal organization for magic, and everything else, all the apostates, and they're all, they're traitors and heretics and all that other stuff. As far as I remember reading the lore of Dragon Age. But I think some of you guys have played Dragon Age, so if I'm wrong, correct me. I'm not a huge I don't know a lot of lore about Dragon Age, just from what I've read in the books, so I didn't play.
Yeah, well, Darren and I usually LARP. We do a Dragon Age LARP, but we didn't do it this. We haven't done it.
Do you use your ping pongs and stuff, and throw your ping pongs and yell magic missile and stuff like that, or throw them out the big wiener noggin there, standing as the giant? So decade after decade, the Darkspawn search to find the old gods, and then when the Darkspawn find the gods, they basically awaken them and corrupt them, and basically the old gods are they're basically the archdemons now, or the archdemons. And then every so many years, the archdemon comes out, rises all of the Darkspawn. They spill up from the Deep Roads, which the Deep Roads, the Deep Roads in Dragon Age is basically it's the equivalence of the Underdark. So they come up, they kill, destroy, they infect all of the lands, they ravage everything, and this is a blight basically. And Duncan basically goes into telling you that the Grey Wardens were founded during this, especially they were founded during the first blight. And you guys know that there's already been 4 blights so far. And he says the reason why
how often are they spread Duncan? How often are they? Years. How spread out are the blights?
I think it was. He says he kind of scratches his chin and he says, "Well, it's been 400 years now since the last blight, which was the 4th blight, my friend." And he says that's why the Grey Wardens are so important, is because we are the only ones that know how to kill one of these archdemons. And he takes a bite of his rabbit stew, and then he just kind of chuckles and he says, "Many very naive people in this world believe that another blight will never happen, but they are truly wrong." And he says, "The Grey Wardens must stand vigilant and each member, and he kind of looks over all of you when he's saying this, and he says, each one of our Grey Warden members need to be ready and must be ready to defend Thetis no matter the cost when another blight occurs. And he says, and the most important thing that I can ever teach you about being a Grey Warden is the Grey Warden order comes first at all cost, and the nations of Thetis are second. Because remember, we're the only ones that know how to kill the archdemon. No one else will. And then every night, he opens it up for questions as well, and he says, do any of you fellow recruits have any questions for me tonight? He says, in fact, let me reverse this on you. He says, I want all of you to tell me why you think you are worthy of becoming a Grey Warden. So, what was your question?
Why do you expect or fear a fifth blight is on the horizon?
Because we have records of previous blights and signs that are starting to happen previously. So, take for instance, there's been more darkspawn incursions that have been happening around Ferelden. So that is one way that we can tell that there's another blight coming. And that's why we need to be ready for when this blight happens. It's usually between every 3 to 400 years that another blight happens, and we are 400 years from the last blight, and we haven't had much to worry about with the darkspawn and the Glenlocks and the Hurlocks. We haven't had much to worry about, but a lot of our Dark Road forts have been attacked. So that this is why we are thinking that another blight is near.
Well, I can tell you that the dwarves, the darkspawn, never leave the underground where the dwarves are at. We're constantly battling them in between blights. And the Shapers have noticed recently that there has been an increased activity of darkspawn around Orzammar and all underground. So,
and we are heading up towards Orzammar as well. So, and that is...
Well, just to be logical, wouldn't it make more sense in the between years to go into the Dark Road and just clear it out of lot?
Well, yeah, that's another great question, Wienernog, and he just kind of shakes his head and he says, under his breath real lightly, you can hear him say, where did he get that name? But he says that's why we have, over the last 100 or so years, my friends, we have built many solid fortifications in the deep roads because of this. And there are hundreds, if not maybe a couple of thousand of us Grey Wardens, but there are hundreds of thousands of Darkspawn. And
well, Duncan, I'll tell you right now.
Yes, my friend.
Excitement has got me. I really want to know, how do you kill a Darkspawn?
With your weapon, of course. You point and stab. What are all of these lessons in weaponry that we have every couple of days ago? You just point and stab, Wienernoggin.
All right, got it. Nothing special then. We don't have to do it while standing or closing our eyes or anything special like that.
Or tapping your foot twice under the stall or something. No, there's nothing special like that. Yes, Wansome, you were saying something.
If everybody knew the secret to killing these dark ones, we wouldn't have any need for the Grey Warden. That's why it's the best kept secret. Right? That's why we don't tell anybody.
Exactly, Wansome. It is. It's job security, nonetheless.
You haven't reached that mastered level yet?
Shake my head. Why don't we just tell everybody?
Yeah.
Then everybody would know.
That's what I would say.
So why don't all of you quickly tell me why you want to become a Grey Warden? And And Darius, why don't you tell me?
Well, first I thought it was Gay Warden. So so that kind of just, now that I know it's Gray Warden, I got a whole different sub. Well, my guy, my character, Andarius Girth Wienernoggin, what his backstory is I'm an apostate. So of course in the fantasy world here, I do magic, but it's illegal. So I'm all about
highly illegal.
Yeah. So I'm all about. So my character's all about learning as much as I can, and kind of doing it in secret. But I'm highly intelligent, just like in real life, and I'm also bald, just like in real life. So it works out.
Yeah. And he looks at you and he says, "Yes, my friend." And sometimes we do look away at certain professions. So in some aspect, Wienernoggin, you are quite lucky. Because generally you would probably be skinned and hung at the stake. Especially if the Imperium found out that you were an apostate.
So for our discussion here, it's kind of a big secret. I'm not weirded out. Even though my portrait has the character, like his eyes are glowing and he's holding a magic book, just kind of ignore that, right?
just ignore the
whole, I did. He was the only one that I thought was cool looking enough, but yeah. So my goal here is to just learn as much as I can. So there's a little bit of a backstory we'll talk about later, but my goal here, and the reason that I want to join the Grey Wardens, is just to learn as much as I can about killing, about magic, about enemies, everything I can. I hunger for it.
Well, my friend, there's more to being a Grey Warden than just killing. So there's a lot of things that we do to help villages and help the sick. But I get the gist of why you want to become a Grey Warden. So what about you?
You have to be
Pickaxe
really good at
Pete.
eating bananas too.
Yeah, you got to be able to at least eat half a banana at a time in one bite. So what about you, Pickaxe Pete?
Hi, sir. Well, being a low-born dwarf, I can attest. I'm a miner, by the way. I can attest about this darkspawn. I'm kind of here because of a workplace safety accident. I mean, it was a trust fall for my friend Lubby. And he fell down the shaft, and he didn't die right away. He yelled up, play-by-play of the darkspawn just slaughtering him. So I can attest. I didn't see the darkspawn. I didn't see him, but I heard her cries because it was a girl. I heard her cries, and I vowed to kill this darkspawn.
So how long did she last before the cries finally died out?
Well, after the first few hours, I found my rope, but it didn't reach a total reach. But by then, she didn't have any legs. But it was probably 5 hours. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear they start with the legs, and then they slowly eat their way up.
Sounds like a brutal
really,
death.
really slowly. Like 5 hours of slowness.
My friend Tommy Two Gins, he's a rock whisperer, and he was whispering to those rocks, and the Shaper said, "This archdemon is for real." So I'm here to slay this archdemon. Let's go.
Duncan just says, I think you're the first recruit that we've ever had joining the Grey Wardens due to a workforce accident.
It was like, day 138 or something,
It sucked when you had to finally set that back to 0. There had been 0 workforce accidents.
I had to do that.
Workplace accidents.
Holy cow. What about you, Wants and Beats? Why do you want to become a Grey Warden?
Like my friend Wienernoggin over here, I was in a bar one night. We were drinking, he was eating a banana, and ever since I haven't left his side. If you've ever seen the man eat a banana, it's a sight to behold. But I got a question for Pete. Now, Pete, being that you're a dwarf here, and it's taken 5 hours to get from toes to crotch, just to be missing the legs, do you think that it would be about a 7-hour eating for a human?
Oh yeah, probably. I don't know if he was hungry or not. We didn't ask the darkspawn or nothing. Could be.
Okay,
If he was really hungry.
I'm just trying. I'm writing some notes down. You can see that I'm thinking in my head, and I'm thinking to myself, "Geez, if I ever get caught in the maw of a dark one,
Don't go down head
I've got
first.
7 hours." I think I'm okay. I think I've got this. Yeah, I seek knowledge. That is why I'm here. I've come in search of the most precious prize secret of all times: how to kill a dark one. 400 years we've been here since the last blight, and these Grey Warden guys, they don't tell anybody shit. So here I am trying to find out the one secret, the one thing that nobody knows that we don't tell anybody. And so I figured I would.
You can't join them. If you can't beat them, join them. That's why.
Right. And Anders said, Wiener Noggin said this was the Gay Wardens, and I was like, okay, let's do it. I saw Nita Banana. He said he was going to join the Gay Wardens. I said I'm in.
Valos, please tell me why do you want to become a Grey Warden?
Well, I none of the reasons that they said. So I'm a
he just
city
shakes
elf.
his head.
I'm a city elf, and I've always been surviving by my wits, and but always out of place in the city. I know I didn't belong there, and this was an opportunity to perhaps find my place in this world and strike out an adventure. And it's a good cause.
You get to see the world as a Grey Warden, my friend, and that's another
That's what
until you're eaten by the darkspawn. Yes.
Yeah.
another great
leg at a
benefit.
time.
7
Listen,
hours at a
it's
time.
pretty excellent marketing for the Grey Warden in the cities. See the world. Join the Grey Warden.
Have a leg eaten off in 7 hours.
Eaten alive.
Yeah.
Freaking bananas.
Have you had a workforce accident? Have you had a workforce accident? Then join the Grey Wardens. Holmgren, what about you, my friend?
Well, I can say that my house in Orzammar for a very long time has been secretly disgruntled with, leadership's tactics on dealing with the Darkspawn. So they have secretly sent me out to the surface to join the Grey Wardens, as they're known to be a force to reckon with, and they want me to become part of taking the sword to the Darkspawn, not just being defensive as Orzammar has been for many centuries.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying forget this wait for a blight. We should just gang up and take it.
Take it to them, huh? Oh, that does sound good, and we do that from time to time. We do that.
I mean, Duncan, how long do these blights last? I mean, obviously 400 years between blights, but how long do the blights last? We're talking about months? Are we talking about years?
Sometimes 30 to 50 years. Sometimes these blights will last. So, it's a.
We have to defeat the archdemon to basically.
Correct.
Send them back, right?
Yes, the archdemon needs to be destroyed and killed, and that's when the blight ends. But as to how many more archdemons are sleeping and will be awoken in the future, we won't find out in our lifetimes, unless the fifth blight comes. So I've shared with you guys a map for Eldon, which this is just for Eldon. I mean the world of Dragon Age is much larger. But the bottom arrow down here, this is basically where you guys are at, right around this area here. And you're traveling on the Imperial Highway. And this is where you guys are kind of off the path, of course. And you guys have already had dinner. You've had your lesson for the day. So it's time to turn in for the night. So there's 5 of you. Who's going to be taking watch? There's only really maybe a couple of watches being needed to be done. I mean, you'll get 8 hours of sleep tonight. So, if you want to do a pair on watch or just one. But how do you guys want to set up shop? Duncan, he is retiring to his tent because, of course, as he was going through the ranks of the Grey Wardens, he has done many watches. So it is your time as a recruit to set up watches.
We got to do the grunt work, huh? So I'll
Pretty
take
much.
first watch.
I see better in the dead of night.
Yeah, I don't need to take first watch. I'd prefer to sleep under the stars. And just don't wake me for second or third watch either. I'll take the very last watch.
Sure. So there'll be basically 2 watches. It's probably, you guys are. It's pretty late. It's probably about 9 to 10 p.m. equivalents. So first watch. Who's on first watch? I know you were saying that you're going to take second. Wiener Nog.
I'll take it.
Davos will be first watch.
Okay, so whoever's on first watch, I need a roll, just a 3d6 roll, and we will.
I hope you're going to be able to sleep with my CPAP machine going.
Your CPAP.
It's just me blowing in his mouth.
Right. So, well, you do. You watched him eat that banana. So you've been following him around ever since. So, all right. So the first watch is uneventful. Worm, give me a 3d6 roll for the second watch roll for the night. As the watches, you guys change hands. Everything is good to go. You stoke the fire overnight. The area is nice and warm. And it is the next morning. And everything was uneventful. There's a couple of crackles and, maybe something stepping on some leaves or breaking a twig that got a little bit of your attention. But for the most part, it was quite uneventful, and you were able to, eat more, and because there was a huge pot of rabbit stew made, and it's the next morning. And when you guys wake up, you notice that Duncan's tent is already torn down. In fact, when you were on second watch, you could actually, see him taking down his tent, and he went off and came back with a couple more rabbits, and now they're kind of turning over the fire, sort of like a rotisserie, and you can, all the grease is dripping from the rabbits into the fire, and it smells wonderful. For breakfast, there's some fruits and some vegetables that he's also foraged for everyone for breakfast, and as all of you start to wake up and get out of your bedrolls and your bunks, he wishes everyone a good morning and hope that you've slept well, and he says, I've got some news for all of you. He says, I need to step away. Actually, I need to head at once. I got an important message during the night, and you guys are all wondering, well, we didn't see anyone, you know what I mean, with your watches and everything. You're thinking, how in the hell did he get a message during the night? But then again, there's like a black raven that is sitting on one of the branches, and it keeps cawing. Caw, caw. So that's basically how because you guys know that the Grey Wardens use that type of message system to get in contact with one another. And he says, my friends, I really need to head over to the Tower of the Circle Magi, and this is where our mage recruits come from. As he kind of looks over towards Wienernoggin the apostate, and just kind of nods his head, and he says, but my friends, I need you to complete the current mission, and this is what I need you to do. Because he hasn't told you anything about the mission or why you guys have been on the road for 2 weeks and all that other jazz. He hasn't said anything. So he tells you that he needs all of you to make your way north along the Imperial Highway to the village of Greenthorn. and he gives you the map, which I'll actually share the map with you guys again in case you guys